Matric exams are synonymous with stress and anxiety for learners and parents alike. However, once the final paper has been written, relief and excitement reign supreme as this period signifies the end of high school life and the beginning of adult life as a future filled with what seems like endless possibilities. The euphoria becomes tainted by the approach of the announcement of the matric examination results, which becomes a large dose of reality. For the students who have not performed well or as expected, fear, anxiety, stress, and depression creep in. But we also speak about the ones that have achieved and the related anxiety in terms of their mental health. We chat to therapist, counselor, and head of ISIP India, Zulekha Rajani, and her guidance for matriculants on effective ways to move forth for both those who have failed and passed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Zulekha.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so
So,
much
in
for
my
having me on this segment.
Alhamdulillah, it's
It's a
our
pleasure.
pleasure, and it's always good to have a representative from the Islamic Psychology Institute, International Students of Islamic Psychology. It's a great movement, it's a great institution, it's gone global, and it's great to see that therapists like yourself are proactive in the field. So, in terms of my introduction and what I was saying about what students would experience in terms of fear, anxiety, and not knowing what the future holds, whether they've passed or failed. Your comment on that?
Yes, so to start off with, I think this age is full of challenges. It's full of finding your own identity. They're learning to grow into adulthood. They're also learning to stand on their own, understand their likes, their dislikes, their strengths, their weaknesses, right? So, subhanallah, along with this age comes the pressure of exams, comes, making friends and having a social circle. So, of course, it is very stressful for students, especially in today's age and time where the complexity is increasing, the toughness of curriculum is increasing. So it is very difficult, no doubt. Some are language people, so they're able to do well in languages. Some are, rational, so they're able to do well in science and math. So every student has their own struggle areas, and it is quite difficult for them. So with this feeling comes anxiety, comes low self-esteem, lack of confidence, not understanding who to approach, how to seek help. Oftentimes it's seen that they also take after classes.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is difficult to make sense of subjects that they're not very comfortable with, and with increasing complexity these days, subhanallah, right? So it is quite a pool of emotions that students go through today, and it is something that I think we have to understand it, address it, talk about it, and make sure they know that we have their back, we are with them, we understand the struggles that they're going through.
Right. Right. So it's one thing, choosing subjects. I know they don't do that in South Africa. It's not done in the year matric year. It's done 2 years before that in grade 9 and
Right,
progressing into grade 10. And then already there's
right,
a bit of stress regarding the choice of subjects because that determines your profession or the career you want to choose going into. So in fact, I think there's a build up in those last years of the schooling career. But then the pressure is on during the matric year because the question arises around them, I think, all the time. And this is what I find many students avoid answering this question when you ask, so what are you going to do after you pass matric? And the answer usually is, I don't know yet. And so whether or not you know, even after you know, there's that challenge of whether I've done the right thing or not. So there's that pressure. And then, of course, we can move on to what happens when you get the results you were working towards or not. Have we got a connection problem? Zulekha, you with us?
I think I lost you for a moment. Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
no,
yes, I
yeah,
can
but
hear
I
you
think
now.
you
Can you
got the
hear me?
gist. Yes, yes, I can. We apologize
Are
for
you able
that.
to
I
hear
think there's
me?
just a. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah, we apologize for that. I think there's a
Yes.
connectivity
Could you
problem. Go ahead and answer the question. Yeah,
problem? Yes. Could you repeat the question briefly, if you don't mind?
certainly. There's just a slight delay, hence you won't hear me in real time.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I was talking about the pressures before writing the matric exam and then doing
Right.
whatever, I mean, achieving the results you work towards or not. So the consequence of the pressure that's on
Right.
during the matric year in terms of gaining the results so that I can get into university. And unfortunately, that mainstream is always what we're all looking at, which in fact adds to the pressure that matriculants find themselves in.
Right. So, yes. So, first thing is that they usually, like you said, usually first when they're not sure as to what they need to take, and once they take, they don't know if they have actually taken the right subjects. I hope that each child goes through a process of career guidance where the three aspects that are kept in mind before they are actually helped to or led to select the subjects. First could be their aptitude, how good are they in certain areas, right, like spatial intelligence or verbal intelligence or logical sequence. So I hope that's one thing that can guide them. Along with that, I think there has to be an interest survey as to which are the areas that they are interested in, right? So whichever subjects they choose, it has to be the fields related to that particular subject. So for example, if it is social sciences, then giving a child a career interest survey which can help the child choose between would do you like spending time in non-governmental organizations, which is like serving, right, in
Mhm.
social sector, in activism, or if it is another sector like designing, like are you interested into graphic designing. So career interest survey is another thing that they can actually do. And personality, I strongly feel that people are naturally disposed with personality, right? They have a predisposition towards being an extrovert, an introvert, or an ambivert. So I believe if an extrovert is put behind a desk job where he just has to sit all day, in front of a computer, he or she is not going to be really happy, right? As
Mhm.
compared to somebody who is an introvert and they are put into, in a job where they actually have to be so extroverted, they have to connect with people and their emotions. It's not going to come easy, right? These are skills that can be learned, but if a child chooses towards their own natural dispositions, then they're going to do well. They don't have to struggle a lot. They don't have to go through that phase of struggling towards changing themselves so much, having personality shifts in, for example, like I am a total extrovert at work, but then by nature I'm an introvert, and I like to not talk and like to be in my zone and comfort zone, right? So I think if these three areas could be administered, or if these three areas could be guided, right? So right before they actually choose their subjects, if they could be worked with a mentor, with a counselor, with a vocational counselor or a career counselor into these three areas: aptitude, interest, and personality, we can tap onto those subjects and those areas that the child is most interested in, and the child can have a future with, inshallah.
Mhm. Right. So that speaks to the achiever, so to speak, right? So after the break, let's talk about the pressures of those that didn't make it, so to speak.
Boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. أو كيف السبيل.
Humanity sets the agenda.
One small gesture can change someone's life. The SANSAF Meals Distribution Project aims to reach out to 100,000 individuals each month with freshly prepared meals daily. With your assistance, we can make this possible by contributing just 12 Rand per meal. Call us on 011 834 6046 for more information. SANSAF, changing lives through development and relief.
Online schooling? Why not? Kurtuba Online Academy is the leading global online Islamic school from grade R to matric, offering South African caps and international syllabus. And it doesn't stop there. We also offer online madrasa for every grade. For more information, visit www.kurtubaonline.co.za. Kurtuba Online Academy, the leading global online Islamic school.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
I'm Najma Kota, and this is the last part of our mid-morning talk where we speak to our guest Zulekha Rajani in our wellness segment on her guidance for matriculants on effective ways to move forth for both those who have failed and passed. So now, what happens to the mental health of the students that unfortunately didn't, achieve the results that they aimed for?
Right. I think it does has a huge psychological impact. Failure, especially at this age where they're actually learning to understand themselves, right, can be seen as quite a setback. So I think at this stage, for everybody who's around such children, should show utmost support, utmost confidence in the children, instill a lot of confidence, telling that, this is not the end, right? There is so
Right.
much more. And also try to let them know, perhaps with their own personal stories, like every person has a story of failure and how it actually just helped them to leap back and take a huge leap forward. So I think knowing that we all, even as adults, be it parents or aunts or uncles or teachers, we have all gone through stages of failures, which has helped us to step up and be, because there is a huge rise in academic pressure and suicides, right?
Correct.
So we don't want students to be even thinking that this is the end of the world. There is so much more if we are just able to hang on, be resilient, have a little bit of grit, and inshallah, see this as something that can help them towards the future. So I think first thing is the support system has to be strong. The family should not be shaming, or the teacher shouldn't be shaming. I think that's very clear. That's not what children need at the moment. And second is, what's this next step, right? You fall down, so instead of just sitting down and seeing, okay, I have fallen down and process, the next step has to be, okay, how do I stand up? How do I see where I need to start back, right? How do I need to
Right.
put my steps forward to move forward? So what is a supplementary exam? Like, how do I, restudy the material? Can I take some help from somebody who I know is good at subject and help me, prepare in the shortest of time to take this exam again, right? And if in case this is so, I think every student should try towards writing the exam again, just in case some students do not want to take it forward, which is not something which is recommended. But then if there are certain parents who are very hesitant about it, then I think vocational counseling, vocational courses, right, or skill development is something that we can be looking into, right? If
Right.
there are some students who are finding it extremely difficult to pass and it's not something that they're able to do, even after writing supplementary, even after giving it a second try, if they're not able to, then I think we need to help them take up skill courses, right? And there's so many today. So you can
True.
take up something like a graphic designing, which is high paying. You have, video editing. So these are skills. You work with softwares, you learn it, and then you get a job based on how good you are at this skill, right? So something in these lines can help them to have, grow and see how they can actually move forward instead of just being stagnant and seeing the setback as a last.
Right. Now, in terms of support from the family and peers, as well as teachers, educators, the whole society, as it were, I'm sure you agree that the preparation, not for preparation for failure, but there shouldn't be any pressure regarding the results as well as
Very
what
true.
career should be chosen. So, in fact, we
Very
don't
true.
only start the support when there's a problem. To
Very true.
prevent the problem, one should actually have this build up long before that, right?
Right. Yes. So
Mm.
I think it's a journey. It's a journey of being there with the child throughout the ups and downs, throughout the difficulties and ease. Right. It's not. We do not wait for the child to fall down to show us support. We are
Right.
walking with the child to show that we are here with you. I know this. This stage is confusing. The stage is has a lot of, like, this or that, like, what has better options, what has better scope, what if I'm missing out on something greater if I don't choose this. So this stage requires a lot of support, and we do not wait for children to fall. Rather, we walk with them hand in hand to see if we can walk them past through this difficult stage of choosing and scoring and making it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yes.
I think building their strengths in terms of always believing in themselves. So it's not only when
Yes.
they reach the grade 10 level, it
Right.
starts from a very, very young age, that build up.
Right.
But at the same time, it's equally important that students need to speak up when they are not coping. I think a lot of
Yes.
them won't say anything because, we might judge them for it, or they might be
Right.
laughed at for it.
Right.
So, yeah. What would
They
you
should.
advise? Yeah.
Yes. I think parents should make that effort from their end, that they are always checking in, they're always talking. They need to have a catharsis time where the children are able to just pour their hearts, how they're feeling, how they're struggling with certain areas, right? So parents, I feel, should take that effort, because at this age or at this stage, children prefer peers over parents, right? As is known, or so it's very important for parents to make that effort. If not, if the children are not comfortable, they should be able to have a confidant, they should be able to open up to a teacher or a counselor or an aunt or uncle or somebody who can actually help them, who can guide them and be by their support, right? And together with the family, the family should come forward to help the child
Hmm.
with whatever he she is struggling with. And another pattern that we see in today's generation is unhealthy coping mechanisms. So when they're
Right.
struggling, they feel that they can just, like, study in the last minute and get through, or just take some papers. Okay, let's just revise 2 3 papers and we should get through, right? In terms of exams, or in terms of if they're feeling low in life, then they binge watching shows, or going towards substances and addictions. So
Correct.
these are things that are not healthy, and this will have a psychological impact. So having understanding of this entire holistic development and wellness, I think parents and educators and everybody around children should advise them and make sure that the children have somebody they can open up to, preferably parents, but if not, at least a teacher or somebody who knows what this child is struggling through, and
Hmm.
would be able to give the child the required support that is
Yeah,
needed.
that's right. And a lot of the focus is on, of course, the academic achievement, but we need to also equally put importance on the emotional intelligence. And I think this is
Absolutely.
where, we can measure your academic
Right.
performance, but
So true.
emotional intelligence is difficult
Right.
to
So true.
measure, as it were. So I think
Right.
that also there has to be an awareness both for the student, parent, as well as educators. Would you
So
agree?
true.
Yeah.
I definitely would agree. Yes. Social
Mm.
intelligence, emotional intelligence, academic, of course, we have adversity skills, right? When life hits you hard, when you're finding something difficult, how do you, having grit, having resilience, having that ability to bounce back. Everybody falls, but the ability to stand up, I think adversity skills or intelligence, all of this combined constitutes a healthy mind, constitutes a healthy child, right? Just focusing on one aspect, just nourishing, for example, just like our
Right.
body, we just keep, prepping it with proteins or fiber or, just the vitamins, it's not going to work. You need a balanced diet. That's exactly how a human being is. You need all of these different intelligence to be filled, and that's when you will actually get a holistic child who is happy and is ready to face life as it comes. Just focusing on
Hmm.
academics is not at all a healthy thing for children, for sure.
Hmm. And parents shouldn't see their children's failures as a reflection of their failure. I think that's when children actually
True.
feel quite despondent and maybe even just very afraid. The fear and the anxiety we spoke about is also that they
So
haven't met
true.
their parents' expectations, you know.
Expectations. So true.
Yeah. So a
Yeah,
lot
it's a
weighs.
cycle. I think, yes, lot of times your parents' unfulfilled dreams gets passed on to you, right? It's a cycle which needs to have a break. So their parents have put pressure into them achieving, and now you are a parent putting in, pressure for your children to achieve something that you were not able to, or perhaps didn't have a chance at life to achieve those skills or education. So knowing that children are children, and this age comes with a lot of challenges, like we mentioned, that
Right.
identity crisis, understanding the strengths, the weaknesses, right? So
Mm,
not letting that trauma get passed on, like putting a stop to the cycle so that it doesn't happen into a generational trauma. We stop it at a
absolutely.
stage where we do not put through children what we have gone through.
Hmm.
That's a very brave step for parents to do, but it is definitely required. It is a need of the hour.
Absolutely. And also, it's okay to take a break. A lot of students feel, even the
Yes.
achievers, it's
Yes.
a matter of choice. It's not always something that doesn't work out. But
Yes. Yes.
if you feel you just need to stop for a year and then make it your
Yes.
choice, then by all means, there's no need to
Absolutely.
rush into
Yes.
your tertiary years.
Absolutely, absolutely, right. Because it's always better to know where your heart lies and what is going to make you happy, which field, which study area, what skill, rather than choosing something and then sticking with it for the rest of your life. And, so that 1 year is going to add, it's going to be the golden year where you're actually making your choices, understanding your priorities, understanding yourself. So it's always better to take some time off, right, rather than
Mhm.
just making hasty decisions and being indecisive later. That's
Jazakallah
very
khair. Jazakallah khair, Sister Zulekha Rajani, who is a DBT therapist, counselor, and educator. Thank you so much for spending your time with us and sharing this very important information.
Thank you
We
so much,
appreciate your
Najma,
time.
for having me. And it was a pleasure. And I wish that all the children out there who are listening and all the parents out there who are listening will take some lessons, will, be positive, look forward towards, the positive side. Even the ones who have not made it, we all have been there. We understand you. But look at us. If we have come a little forward, just with a little bit of resiliency and grit, then you all can do it too. And we are right here by your
Indeed.
side as support. Thank you so
Jaza-
much for having me. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for those closing words. Very important. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
And with that, I look forward to our next week's edition of Mid Morning Talk on a Monday with Najma Kota. Have a fantastic day going forward. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.